Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I want to give a special shout out to anybody listening to this podcast right now. I'm probably maybe about five episodes in, and I'm really excited about doing this. Now, is this your first time listening to my podcast? I'm just a fan at the end of the day that loves wrestling. I've been watching wrestling my whole entire life since I was 4 years old. I'm 32 right now. Fell in love with wrestling at WrestleMania 6, watching it on television. The Ultimate Warrior taking on Hulk Hogan. So that's how long I've been a wrestling fan. So I decided to do a podcast. I'm not really into wrestling like I once was, but I still watch it every single week. I mean, I used to be a craze fan. I mean, I still am to certain levels, but I actually just watch it now, just to observe it and just to kind of know what's going on. So decided to do this podcast because of that reason there. So we had Fastlane, WWE Fastlane 2019. This is the review for that. And it was a very decent show. I'm shocked. I really am. I am shocked that the show was as good as it was. I mean, usually like Fastlane over the past couple of years wasn't that good. You know, it basically was a glorified house show, in my opinion. Fastlane was just basically kind of to spark some buzz leading into WrestleMania. But I must admit, the talent of WWE, the superstars, really did a good job trying to put on a decent show. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk about each match. I'm going to give my opinion about each match. And feel free at the end of this podcast to comment, like, and share this video. I will really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm just starting out. So just trying to get people interested in listening to the podcast. So any little you can do can help. So the first match we had the kickoff show match. And that match was Rusev and Nakamura as a tag team taking on the New Day. Now, this was, once again, the kickoff match of the night. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the match. I just heard it. I was actually at work at the time. I was listening on my headset, so I really didn't see the action in real time. I was only able to hear it. And from the way it looked, you know, it seemed like it was a pretty exciting match. From what I've seen as far as the reviews and people, commenting via Twitter, seemed like it was an interesting match. But the New Day ended up getting a victory, and that was a pretty good decision. I just don't like the fact that Nakamura and Rusev are a tag team. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of it because I feel like these two guys could be some champions in singles competition. Just think about where these guys were last year. Okay, Nakamura was in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania against AJ Styles, and Rusev probably was one of the hottest superstars in WWE with his whole Rusev Day gimmick alongside Aiden English. And now you look at these guys are on the kickoff show. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Rusev is really opinionated, and he will actually tell you what's going on. As far as his feelings via Twitter, and also hear that he talks to Vince McMahon backstage and tries to pitch ideas to him. Maybe Vince McMahon feels like he's not a big enough superstar to do so. We all know that Vince McMahon has a past of being extremely petty, and he feels like if it's not his idea, then it's no idea. So maybe Rusev is paying the price because of that, and we all know that Vince McMahon is a little bit biased, in my opinion. Well, I don't want to say we all know, but I know that Vince McMahon is a little bit biased against international superstars. And it's true. I mean, it's well documented. I mean, we seen the Stone Cold podcast when Stone Cold asked him about Cesaro, and he started talking about possible language barriers and stuff like that. I can understand Cesaro. You can understand Cesaro. So why the hell should it be an issue? I just don't know. But at the end of the day, these guys shouldn't be a tag team. But the New Day, they are a tag team, a true tag team, and they got the victory. And that was the kickoff show. And then we had the first match of the night to kick off Fastlane officially. It was the Usos taking on The Miz and Shane McMahon. This match was very back and forth, and it was very exciting. This match was much better than the first match that they had. I think it was an uphill battle for The Miz and Shane McMahon in the first place because I think a lot of people have McMahon fatigue. I'm one of those people. I have McMahon fatigue. I'm tired of looking at the McMahons take a top spot during a pay-per-view, during a storyline. I just am not a fan of it. I don't like it. I think that the WWE, this is the reason why they suffer. I feel like this is the reason why their stars don't feel like stars. It's because they don't get the opportunities to be on television, and it's being overcrowded by McMahon storylines. I like the McMahons. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we wouldn't be watching the product if it wasn't for the McMahons. I mean, these people have put in the work, and I really do appreciate it. But at the end of the day, you got so much talent in the back that is suffering, and they can't even get on TV because Shane McMahon is teaming up with The Miz. But I didn't like it. I know fans didn't like it. The first match flopped. But this match was much more exciting than the match they previously had. And I feel like the fans were more engaged in this match. And that's always good because I feel like fan support is very, very important. I know a lot of people were talking about a couple weeks ago when I went off on Lafayette, Louisiana. And I feel like I can talk about Louisiana because that's where I'm from. But crowd involvement is so important. It's very, very important. You are the reason, if you're sitting in a crowd, that these WWE superstars try to go above and beyond to perform because they feed off your energy. But the energy in the room and in Cleveland, in the arena, it made this match much, much better. The winners of the match were the Usos. They retained their WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which they should. They should have retained the Tag Team Championships because they're a tag team, a true tag team. Unlike Shane McMahon and The Miz. I don't like The Miz and Shane McMahon being together. I didn't like this idea. I thought it was stupid from the get-go. That's just my opinion. But after the match, a lot of people knew that a swerve was coming, but they all thought that maybe it was coming from The Miz. And shocking to all of us, ended up being Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon gives The Miz a beat down in his hometown. Beats him down, man. Made it look very, very convincing. Shane McMahon can't throw a fake punch to save his life. I mean, if you are in a match with Shane McMahon, I mean, you getting punched all in the face, man, because he's throwing what they call potatoes, okay? He throwing potatoes, man. That means stiff punches. Looking like Magnum TA back in the day when him and Tully Blanchard were fighting. It was funny, man. If you ever get an opportunity to look at that clip, man, go look at that clip of Tully Blanchard fighting Magnum TA and tell me it don't look like those guys were fighting for real, man. I mean, they were throwing potatoes. But Shane McMahon made it look very, very convincing. The Miz getting beat up right in front of his dad. And I had a problem with that because, I mean, if I'm a father and I'm soon to be a father, I'm having my first child. But if my son end up getting beaten right in front of me, there's no way in the world I am not going to jump the barricade and try to fight off the guy that's beating him up. I mean, what kind of father is that, man, watching his son? Oh, the agony. Oh, no, man, I'm getting up in there, man. I'm whooping somebody's ass. Man, get your hands off my son. That part right there didn't make much sense to me, but Shane ended up, getting into a little confrontation. He ended up pushing the Miz's father and stuff like that, but made it look very, very convincing. So we all know what this is leading. It's leading to a match at WrestleMania. I'm still not a fan of The Miz being a babyface. I feel like The Miz at this part of his career don't know how to be a babyface. Some people are just born to be annoying, okay? Some people are just annoying. Some people just get on your nerves, make you sick, man, and that's what The Miz is. Miz has, like Daniel Bryan say, one of those faces you want to punch. I mean, you hate the guy. I mean, he's one of those people that just overachieve, and you're like, how the hell did he get there? Like, and you hate it. Like, man, this could have been somebody else's spot. He's not the best wrestler. Man, he's a great talker on the mic, but it seems like everything in his life is perfect. I mean, he has, the most beautiful woman as his wife. I mean, he gets those main event spots, and then you see him wrestle. It's like, he's average, but why? You got all these other talent in the back, but why is he getting the push? he just has one of those faces, man, and he feeds off of that. I think he knows that, and he knows how people feel, and he's able to feed off of that energy, man. So I love the Miz as a heel. I think he's been doing some of his best work. I can honestly say he's probably better than he was even when he was WWE champion. But once again, Shane McMahon is probably going to have a match with the Miz, and should be interesting, man. Especially Shane McMahon getting the Miz's father involved. And then we had the second match of the night. The second match was the SmackDown Women's Championship, Asuka versus Mandy Rose. Now, this was not at all a catches can, as Jim Ross would say. It wasn't a Texas can match at all. Okay, this match was pretty decent. I was shocked at Mandy Rose, and I want to give credit what credit is due, because I think we all raked Mandy Rose through the coals and talked about how bad she was in the ring. And we also seen that house show where it was a little bit of an accident that took place, and a lot of people were afraid for Asuka because her and Mandy Rose were fighting at a house show, and it looked like Asuka got dropped on her head, and a lot of people were blaming Mandy Rose for that. But it turns out that it was actually Asuka that didn't tuck her chin in, and that's what caused the could-be injury. But back to this match. The match was decent. I was shocked at Mandy Rose's performance. Mandy Rose is getting better in the ring. I think we're starting to see what WWE saw. That's one of the reasons why she didn't spend much time in NXT, because they thought that she was just so drop dead beautiful. They felt like they needed her on network television. And she is, man. She's absolutely stunning. A beautiful woman. Very, very captivating. And I don't even think they just need those special effect and lights when she comes out to the ring. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. And now she's really starting to improve in the ring. And her and Asuka had a decent match. If you were grading it on a scale from a A+ to a F, I give it about a C-, man. C- match, average match. It ended with Asuka with a kick to Mandy Rose for the 1, 2, 3. I don't think anybody expected Mandy Rose to win the SmackDown Women's Championship, but I mean, it's a good learning experience, and it gets her in a serious storyline, man. Start taking Mandy Rose a little bit serious. I'm interested to see if they're going to allow her and Sonya Deville to go after the tag team championships, because I feel in my heart of hearts they're going to be the next wearers of those tag team titles, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I like Mandy Rose. I like Asuka. I don't like the fact that Asuka is not important leading into WrestleMania, because she had a big storyline last year. I mean, she was undefeated going up against Charlotte Flair, and now you look at her, she's looking like a B+ player. Nobody's paying any attention to Asuka. Nobody's paying attention to the fact that she is the SmackDown Women's Champion. I think that she needs more respect than that. We just starting to see her back on television, man, and it's just sad, man. All that talent that woman possesses, and you don't even have her in a storyline that's worth anything. Not that I'm trying to throw shade on Mandy Rose, but at the end of the day, her storyline is not as important as the Women's Raw Championship, and it shouldn't be like that. Now, we all know that Raw is the flagship show, and WWE looks at it that way, but at the end of the day, man, she still is a champion, and they need to respect her and put some respect on her name. Anyway, moving forward, we got the handicap match, Kofi Kingston taking on The Bar. Now, this match was set up because earlier, Kofi Kingston was called into Vince McMahon's office to talk to Vince McMahon about a match. Now, we all thought that this was possibly Vince McMahon changing his mind and seeing that the WWE Universe really wants Kofi Kingston. Kofi Mania is still running wild. People want to see Kofi Kingston. I mean, Kofi Kingston has basically rose through from the ashes, so to speak, and he has taken the brass ring and now he's running with it. And now Vince McMahon has been holding him back. Don't consider him a main eventer. Don't consider him a guy who needs to be vying for a championship. But now he gets called into the office of Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon tells him that he is going to be in a match tonight. And a lot of people were excited about it because they thought that he was going to be in the championship match once again. And Kofi Kingston goes down to the ring. He finds out that He is in a 2-on-1 handicap match with Texas Tornado Rules, and the New Day is barred from ringside. So this is a knife in the back of Kofi Kingston. This is the screw job among screw jobs, and you have a lot of people on social media really upset about this. And look, I'm not going to try to make anybody feel bad, but for all my wrestling fans, my true wrestling fans, like the ones that really got about 10, 12 years into this, I think we all know where this is going. So calm down to all the fans that's really getting upset and up in arms on social media, man. Calm down. I promise you, man, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But anyway, man, 2-on-1 handicap match, Texas Tornado Rules. For those that don't know what that is, that means that both tag team partners can be in the ring at the same time, man. So they basically were wailing on Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston had a good little rally and stuff like that. You see the New Day in the back. They were trying to get out there because they know that it was unfair. They seen that McMahon was trying to screw him, so they were trying to get out there, and they get attacked by Rusev and Nakamura, their opponents, earlier in the night. So then you had the Bar taking out Kofi Kingston for the 1, 2, 3. The Bar end up winning. I like this. I like the heat. It's a win. First off, the Bar, they needed a win because for the last couple of weeks on television, we've been seeing the Bar lose. Okay, they lost to Aleister Black and Ricochet. Then they lost to Ciampa and Gargano. They were losing stock. And for them to go out here, not only did they get the win, but they get more heat on them because they look like they're destroying everybody's new hero, Kofi Kingston. And it's a win for Kofi because now is more emotion behind Kofi. I mean, Vince McMahon has done a great job. I know we criticize Vince for all the stuff that he does. Oh, Vince McMahon out of touch. Oh, Vince McMahon don't know what he's doing. He need to get a company to Triple H. But every now and then an old man gonna come through with something that works. And this Kofi Kingston storyline so far has been working. More people want to see Kofi in a WWE Championship match. And I would be highly surprised if, man, Kofi Kingston is not in a championship match. So shouts out to the WWE. The storylines that's leading into WrestleMania have been very good. I'm really surprised that all of this is going on, man. Usually I'll be very upset going into WrestleMania and not feeling excited. But looking at this storyline with Kofi Kingston, I'm excited about it. Then we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match. It was a triple threat tag team match. It was Rude and Gable taking on Ricochet, Aleister Black, and the Raw Tag Team Champions, The Revival. Now, these guys, they laid it all on the line. Once again, I want to give props where props is due. Fastlane, the superstars went out there and they performed at a high level. They performed really well. This was one of those matches that stood out throughout the show. I think it was one of the best matches of the night. If I was ranking them, I don't want to rank it right now because I'm still going through it. But it was one of the top matches. Very fast pace. You seen the Revival, they were doing their, ground and pound offense. You got Rude and Gable. Look, man, when I'm talking about Rude and Gable, look, Bobby Roode, look, we all can agree, DOA, dead on arrival, man. I just don't think WWE really sees much in him. But Chad Gable, man. Chad Gable is the best well-kept secret in WWE. Look, Chad Gable is amazing. Chad Gable, if he was to get a push, this man would go out there and put on classic matches. I have never seen Chad Gable in a singles match that was not good. This man went up against Rusev, and him and Rusev maybe had like about 7 minutes. And these guys put on a great match. I don't know why WWE don't want to put Chad Gable as a single superstar. Maybe they don't feel like he got the look. Maybe they feel like he's not one of those guys that's 260. But at the end of the day, back in the day when they were going after Jason Jordan and gave him that terrible storyline of being Kurt Angle's son, I feel like they shouldn't have done that. They should have gave Chad Gable that spot and made Kurt Angle more like his coach, like he did Team Angle back in the day. Or you could have put these two guys together with Kurt Angle and made Team Angle 2.0 or something like that. But Chad Gable is amazing. I feel like the WWE could do more with this guy, but I don't understand why they don't, because he is amazing in the ring. And then you had Ricochet and Aleister Black. They did a good job as well. Aleister Black, he stayed on the apron. Ricochet took most of the beating. I think that the WWE understands what Ricochet is. And I don't want them to use Ricochet, because I'm afraid right now, looking at Ricochet, he's looking like a glorified spot monkey right now. And I feel like I don't want him to be the acrobatic guy. I don't want him just to be the guy to get people out of the seat, because he can, flip his body in all kind of different ways, and he can flip out the ring and land on his feet almost like superhero style and all that. Look, that's cool, but this guy is a good performer in the ring, and I don't want us to lose sight of that. So I'm afraid that Vince McMahon looks at him and be like, wow, he can do that, and let's get him out there, because he's going to get people excited. Like, this guy is a really good wrestler, and I don't want them to lose track of that. So I think they understand what they have. He can generate all type of excitement. So I think they're doing their best to focus more on Aleister Black. So they gave him the hot tag. He gets into there, he does his few moves. A lot of great spots in this match. You had one move where Chad Gable does what I like to call one of the most sickest moves I've ever seen, when he does that rolling German suplex. I mean, some of the guys he does that move on is amazing, man. I remember he did that to Rusev one time, man. I'm like, how? Like, this small guy shouldn't be this strong. But he ended up hitting him with the German suplex. Then you had one of the Revival members, I think it was Dawson, come off the top rope. No, Dash Wilder. Dash Wilder comes off the top rope with a splash. And then you have Ricochet come off the top rope, and he does a move. I mean, it was like really fast paced. But the Revival end up retaining the Raw Tag Team Championship with a shatter machine on Chad Gable. He takes the pin. Then you had Bobby Roode come in after the match, and they have a little fight. And then you see Ricochet and Aleister Black. They get back to their feet, and the segment completely ends with the 630 by Ricochet. And I mean, wow. I mean, he absolutely destroyed Dash Wilder, man. They have to check on Dash Wilder, because the impact he came down on Wilder with, man, I know for a fact he probably knocked the wind out of that guy. I mean, because he landed smack dab in the midsection of Dash Wilder. Usually when he does the 630, I'm talking Ricochet, he usually rolls off, but I'm talking about all of his weight came down on Dash Wilder. I mean, it was pretty sick, man. But that's how that segment ended. I think that it protected all guys. I don't think that Roode and Gable end up looking bad. I don't think the Revival end up looking bad. I think the Revival needed this win, because they've been jobbing on network television on Monday Night Raw for the last couple weeks. So for them to get a legit win, I think it gives them credibility. So it was good to see that. And it was a good match. Very, very good match. You had to be impressed. We have the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE United States Championship. Now, this is a newly won title that was won by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe just gives the United States Championship credibility. The WWE United States Championship has been teetering. And a lot of people don't even remember that it's there. When R-Truth was the champion, I remember when he won it the first week, he wasn't even on television the next week. And it's basically been hot potato. Like, like Nakamura, everybody likes him. Make him a United States champion. Oh, Rusev, Rusev Day, yeah, it's dying down, but give him the United States Championship. I mean, it's been hot potato. Nobody has respect for the United States Championship, and the United States Championship hasn't been a big deal since John Cena was doing the U.S. Open Challenge. But Samoa Joe, when he put that title across his shoulder, he automatically legitimized the United States Championship. I said on the last podcast, if you want to keep the momentum going with the United States Championship, keep it on Samoa Joe for the foreseeable future. Let him go out there and have some good matches, get a couple guys over, but, end up winning at the end of the day. Let Samoa Joe do a job. This Fatal 4-Way was the United States Champion Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, Andrade, and R-Truth. Now, this match was a rematch from last week's SmackDown, which was a good match, and this was a good match as well. First off, I want to start off with the competitors in the match. We talked about Samoa Joe. I want to talk about Andrade. I want to talk about Andrade Cien Almas. Okay, I know they dropped the Cien Almas, but just feel weird calling somebody, Andrade, man. Like, come on, man, give him a last name. What's with superstars not having last names? You have a last name. I have a last name. Why can't superstars have a last name? But back to Cien Almas. Cien Almas is the new Eddie Guerrero, and I know this because I'm a huge Eddie Guerrero fan. Rest in peace, Eddie. Rest in peace. Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler of all time. The WWE for years have been trying to find the next Eddie Guerrero. They tried to do it in Alberto Del Rio. Fail. Okay, they tried to do it in Sin Cara. Fail. Okay, this is the new Eddie Guerrero. If you're trying to tap into that Mexican market, you're trying to get that next Mexican superstar, Andrade Cien Almas is the guy, okay? No, I never heard him talk on a mic. I really don't know. I know he's from Mexico. I don't know how well he speaks English. I don't know. I mean, you got Zelita Vega with him and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, this guy inside the ring is incredible. And he's so smooth, man. He just reminds me so much of Eddie Guerrero, man. You're looking for the next Eddie. It's an Andrade, man. Incredible guy. I mean, he's slowly moving up the ranks to being one of my favorite new guys right now. Incredible talent. Very, very incredible. Then you had R-Truth. R-Truth in the match. Man, we know what R-Truth is. He's comic relief, right? He's the new Santino Marella of WWE. You put a belt around him. He goes out there, crack a few jokes. Yada, 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 man. He ain't about to be no champion, no serious contender, anything like that. He'll go up in there. He's a solid worker and stuff like that. Then you got Rey Mysterio. You got Rey Mysterio, who is a seasoned veteran. I mean, he's over anyway. I mean, you can't bury Rey Mysterio. You just can't. I mean, Rey Mysterio has won championships. He has had 5-star matches. We all know what Rey Mysterio is, so you can't bury this guy. At the end of the night, Samoa Joe ended up retaining his United States Championship. He puts this Coquina clutch on Rey Mysterio, and I thought that it was suffice once again on Rey Mysterio doing the job. Okay, Rey Mysterio doing the job, not Andrade, not R-Truth, but Rey Mysterio. That shows you right there how much respect Rey Mysterio has for the business. For the last couple weeks, we've been seeing Rey Mysterio eat pins week after week. And that shows right there how much respect that he has for the other guys, because he understands his position. He understands that a loss won't hurt him. And I think that a couple matches that he's had that involved Andrade, I think he's been wanting to take the pin. I think that's the type of character Rey Mysterio has. I think if they were talking and said, okay, Andrade, take the pin, I think Rey Mysterio would jump in and say, nah, let me take it, because he understands that. So I got a lot of respect for Rey Mysterio, and I think he really likes Andrade. They have incredible chemistry. I think the WWE did a good job not putting those two in a match at Fastlane. I think it's going to be a match at WrestleMania, probably going to be one of those matches that start the show to get the crowd involved. I like it, and I got a lot of respect for Rey Mysterio, no lie. Moving on, we got the Women's Tag Team Championship match. We had Nia Jax and Tamina taking on the Tag Team Champions of Bayley and Sasha Banks. Okay, this is the part where I'm about to rant. This is the part where that really, really ticked me off. Nia Jax. Now, I'm not into this whole Nia fat and everything people talking about, and Nia botch and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not into that kind of stuff, and I'm not into the name calling, because anybody that steps foot in a ring and is willing to put their body at risk night after night, week after week, I got respect for it. So I respect Nia Jax from that level. I don't, however, like the fact that week after week, match after match, Nia Jax botches moves, okay? Now, the fact of the matter is this. when you're in a match with a person, when you're in a match with your opponent, that person is trusting you to put them in maneuvers to not hurt them seriously. You have an obligation to execute moves and not get somebody paralyzed or seriously hurt. Nia Jax constantly botches moves, constantly falls down, constantly puts her opponents in harm's way with her recklessness. WWE really needs to do something. Now, I understand she's the Rock cousin. I understand that you want to stay on the Rock's good side. I understand that you want to push her. But at the end of the day, if she is going to continue to botch moves like this, you might want to find somebody else to take this place, because she is going to end up seriously hurting somebody. She is going to seriously hurt somebody. She is going to hurt somebody to a point where they're not going to be able to wrestle anymore. We've seen it with Becky Lynch when she gave her that stiff punch, gave her a concussion, and broke her nose. Okay, we've seen this. We've seen her, drop people on their heads like Charlotte Flair. We've seen these things. And it's a miracle that these women didn't really get seriously hurt. Nia Jax is going to hurt somebody. So maybe she needs to double up her training at the Performance Center. Or maybe they need to take off the road for a little while so she can kind of polish herself up. But she is going to seriously hurt somebody, man. This is getting scary right now. I'm not even joking. This is getting scary. Now, Tamina botched in a match, but she didn't botch as much as Nia Jax. This match just looked awkward. Like it looked like these competitors didn't talk during before the match. It looked like that. And like, man, look, I know I'm breaking the fourth wall, but we all know. Like, if you're listening to my podcast right now, you're probably one of those wrestling fans that follow wrestling, been following wrestling for years. We know that they prep before the match, okay? Unless you're like a seasoned veteran like Chris Jericho going up against AJ Styles, you're probably winging and talk each other through the match. But they talk before the match, and they know what each other is going to do. This match just looked awkward. It looked like people were backing up, trying to put themselves in position for spots. It just didn't look crisp. It didn't look slick. It didn't look sleek. It just looked like a match. A match between four individuals. No, let me take that back. 3 individuals that didn't have a clue, because Bayley was on. Bayley was on at Fastlane. I haven't seen Bayley look this crisp, this smooth in a very, very long time. Bayley stole the show. Like, I observed this match. I looked at it. Like, since I've been doing a podcast, I try to really look at the superstars and really look at the performance, because I really want to not just look at all elements. Like, sometimes we get lost in the crowd. Like, the crowd ain't paying no attention, so the match wasn't good. Look, like, pay attention to the match. Bayley stole the show. She stole the show. She stole the show. Bayley was incredible, and she executed very, very well. I mean, she carried that match. But Bayley and Sasha end up winning and retaining their tag team championships. After the match, there was a beatdown. Nia Jax and Tamina beat down Bayley and Sasha. And then you seen Beth Phoenix, who was the special guest commentator at ringside. She got up, and they end up attacking Beth Phoenix. Tamina and Nia Jax beat up Beth Phoenix. And then we had Natalya run down to try to help Beth Phoenix, and she ended up getting beat down. And we had Nia Jax and Tamina standing tall. So this looks like Beth Phoenix is going to come out of retirement and tag up with Natalya to take on Tamina and Nia Jax. And maybe that'll be a match at WrestleMania that'll give them something to do. I think that's a good look. Beth Phoenix, seasoned veteran. Natalya, we all know her place. She's one of those seasoned veterans that help the young superstars. She trained with them at the Performance Center. So I think that this is the most safe match Nia Jax and Tamina can have, okay? Because I think Nia Jax, once again, will hurt somebody. But I think that if you have Natalya and Beth Phoenix in the ring with her, I think she'll look much better, because they probably will be able to talk to her, maybe sell her moves better and help her to execute better. Because, man, Nia Jax, wow. I just don't know what to say. I'm out of words, man. But they got to do something. They have got to do something with Nia Jax. Then we had the WWE Championship match. Daniel Bryan, of course, is the WWE champion, doing some of his best work. And then the announcer announced that it is going to be a triple threat match. Now, we all know that Kofi Kingston got beat down earlier in the night. So we knew that he probably wasn't going to be involved in this match. So it made a lot of people upset. Good work, WWE. Still trying to toy with the fans, still trolling them. Then we had Daniel Bryan come out. We had Kevin Owens come out. And then we had Mustafa Ali, the guy who originally was supposed to be in the spot that Kofi Kingston is in. Now, if you don't know, Mustafa Ali was supposed to get a big push by WWE, but he ended up hurting his eye kind of seriously. So he had to be taken out of, the WWE for a while in order for him to nurse that injury. And Kofi Kingston ended up taking his spot, and Kofi Kingston ended up grabbing the brass ring in the process. So we had Mustafa Ali in the triple threat match with Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. And before I start talking about this match, I just want to say this. There is no way in hell that Daniel Bryan is 210 pounds. No way. Okay, I'm 228 pounds. Okay, I'm 228, maybe even 230. I know I'm bigger than Daniel Bryan. Now I'm talking about like really, really, really much bigger than Daniel Bryan. Okay, maybe there's no way in the world that Daniel Bryan is 18 pounds less than me. Daniel Bryan is a hunger strike away, a 2-day hunger strike away from 150. He doesn't even have like that much muscle tone anymore. Like if you look at Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 30, like when he won the WWE Championship for the first time. When you see Daniel Bryan, he is much bigger. Now, around that time, he was 210 pounds. I agree with you. But there's no way in hell. No way. There's no way that Daniel Bryan is 210 pounds. No way. Not at all. But this match was pretty good. I don't want to say pretty good. This was a great match. This was a great match. And I think because of Mustafa Ali, because the unfamiliar elements of him, I think it made the match better. I think if it was just Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan, I don't think it would have been as good. Shouts out to Daniel Bryan really selling Mustafa Ali's moves. Daniel Bryan is back. There is no tiptoeing. There is no trying to hide. There is no being safe with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is balls to the wall. I mean, some of the moves that he was taking, the Spanish fly, allowing Mustafa Ali to hit the 450 splash on him from the outside, allowing Mustafa Ali to hit the tornado DDT outside the ring on him. Like, all of that stuff right there shows that Daniel Bryan, is all in. Daniel Bryan is not going to half-ass it, just not going to say, I'm trying to save my career, concussions and neck injuries. No. He is really out here doing his best to try to put guys over. Much respect to Daniel Bryan. But Mustafa Ali stole the show. At the beginning of the match, the crowd, I am going to address the crowd because I feel like it's of importance. The crowd was really not into the match because they wanted Kofi. And these guys did a good job changing the crowd's mind. They changed the crowd mind. The crowd got into the match. And I don't think it would have happened if Mustafa Ali wasn't in this match. We also seen a possible murder on national television with Kevin Owens. When Kevin Owens dived to the outside with that senton, he was about a hair away from hitting his head on the announce table, at the front of the announce table. He hit that senton with so much speed, man. You probably could have seen Kevin Owens' head snap back if he was a few inches from that commentator's table. I'm talking about it would have been ugly. But I'm glad that didn't happen. And Kevin Owens, he did a good job. He's doing a good job at winning the WWE crowd over. But it was a good match. It ended when Mustafa Ali tried to go for an aerial move and he was hit with the running knee by Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan pins him to retain his WWE Championship. As you can see, there's a trend going on. No championships have changed hands throughout the night. And Daniel Bryan ended up getting a victory. And I think this is going to set up the WWE Championship match. Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. And I think that Kofi Kingston will get his WrestleMania moment. Good match. Good match. Probably the best match of the night. I would say it was the best match of the night, in my opinion, because Mustafa Ali did an outstanding job. And they really won over the fans, even though the fans wasn't interested at the beginning of the match. Then we had Charlotte taking on Becky. Now, we all know about the stipulation. If Becky wins, she gets into the match at WrestleMania between Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. It becomes a triple threat match. Becky comes out with the crutch, selling her injuries. I think this is a little bit old. I mean, what did Becky Lynch do? Tear ACL? I mean, she's been limping since the Royal Rumble. I mean, honestly, like ever since Nia Jax attacked her, and threw her leg on the steel steps, I mean, she's been nursing this injury. I mean, what happened? I mean, did she tear ACL? Did she have that injury that Carson Wentz had? Did she have that Willis McGahee? For those that don't know who Willis McGahee is, he was a running back at the University of Miami, and he tore his ACL, his LCL, and his MCL. Okay, I mean, what did Becky Lynch tear? Did she tear ACL, her MCL, her LCL, her NAACP, her FBI, her CIA? Like, what the hell did she tear? I mean, for her to still be walking around on crutches, but wrestling. But anyway, Becky Lynch comes down to the ring, and she takes on Charlotte Flair. Charlotte is doing a very, very good job throughout this storyline. I don't know if she's making people hate her more. Not in my opinion. I think she's just more funny. And she's just mimicking Becky Lynch throughout the match. She's acting like she's limping. She's talking noise. She's saying, come on, fight me. I mean, just classic heel stuff. And she's really starting to get more and more like Ric Flair, her father. Even like in her mannerisms and stuff like that, doing some of the stuff Ric Flair does, you really would think that you're looking at a female Ric Flair. I mean, even the way she walks around the ring, she carries herself, even like the smoothness of her technique is similar to Ric Flair. So Charlotte did a good job, but the match actually ended because maybe like 10 or 12 minutes in, Ronda Rousey comes out. She runs out to the ring, and man, if you go back and watch that, watch how Ronda Rousey is running to the ring. Ronda Rousey is running like she's on Baywatch or something. Like if you watch Baywatch, you see them running on the beach. That's how Ronda Rousey was running, man. It was just really funny. She runs really funny. But anyway, she comes down to the ring, and she hits Becky Lynch in the midsection, and it causes a disqualification. So Becky Lynch ends up getting to the match because of disqualification. Ronda Rousey gets what she wants. She wanted Becky Lynch in the match, so she ended up playing a role in this match. And now the match at WrestleMania is a triple threat match. But, okay, we can make the argument here, okay? If this was going to happen, if Ronda Rousey knew that she was going to do this, why did we have to go through this match for 10 to 12 minutes? That's all I ask, okay? I mean, I understand that people probably wanted to see Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair kind of square up a little bit, perform a few moves, but logically, okay? Logically, I got to use that word. You would think that she would just automatically just go out there and just do that before the match even started, but hey, that's just me. That's just the way I think. All right, that's just how I think. I mean, I think differently from wrestling. Maybe. I don't know. But it is what it is. But anyway, we had the main event of the evening. We had Baron Corbin, which was a shock to me that Baron Corbin is in anybody's main event, no matter if he is with a bunch of other people that are considered main eventers. But Baron Corbin tagging with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre to take on Ambrose, Reigns, and Rollins in the Shield. And the match was okay. Okay, but it was one of those matches, and maybe I'm just criticizing, and maybe I'm just criticizing the match too much. I don't know. But it felt like I saw this match before. I think this was the same match that I seen when the Shield took on Evolution back in the day. It seemed like they had the same spots. It seemed like some of the same moves were performed. It just seemed like it was a rinse and repeat. Now, I understand the storyline. It was all about Roman Reigns returning to the ring for the first time since he was diagnosed with leukemia, and now he's in remission. We understand that. We understand about Roman Reigns not being in the ring, and you can tell he was genuinely excited about the fact that he was in the ring. I don't know if he was performing at house shows or whatever, or maybe WWE just kept him out to, keep that suspense going and keep that energy going. They ain't perform him at house shows or anything like that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Roman Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose, and this Baron Corbin tag team faction, like I said, it was a rinse and repeat match. Drew McIntyre stood out in this match to me. If I were the WWE, I would allow Roman Reigns to take on Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Now, I know you probably don't want to do that because you're really trying to get Drew McIntyre over as this Scottish badass, which, in my opinion, he's already over. I think a lot of people already know what he is. I think that you need to put him and Roman Reigns in a match together. Or you need to have Drew McIntyre take on Finn Balor after he finished up with Bobby Lashley and have him win the Intercontinental Championship from Finn Balor. Either or, I'm okay with. I don't have no problem with. But Drew McIntyre needs to be somewhere. He needs to be somewhere because this guy stands out in a crowd. And I'm not even just talking about because of his size and his height and all that. I'm talking about because this guy really seems legit, okay? I really feel like I'm looking at a guy that can rip somebody's head off. And he's really doing a good job. He's good on the mic. Like you say, he has that look that Vince McMahon likes. And he's good and polished in the ring. So I got a lot of respect for that. The Shield ended up winning this match with a triple power bomb on Baron Corbin. We had a couple, big spots. Drew McIntyre went through the table. We seen a couple spears. We seen Seth Rollins, who I was shocked. He jumped from the crowd onto Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose. I was really shocked that they let Seth Rollins take that big bump, especially since he's been nursing a back injury for the past few months. He hasn't been taking part in any house shows or anything like that. So I was shocked that he took that bump. But I guess this whole match was basically to protect everybody. It was protect Roman, who hasn't been in a ring. He probably not in the best cardiovascular shape. You probably had protection for Seth Rollins. They probably were thinking about that because he has been dealing with back injuries. Dean Ambrose, I think he took the majority of the ass beating by the Baron Corbin team because I feel like that's what he was there for. And, I think that everybody did a good job. I like Bobby Lashley has been improving in the ring. He hasn't been as reckless in the ring as he once was. I don't know, man. It has been maybe a month and a half. Bobby Lashley, the light has turned on for him, and he has been doing great work. Baron Corbin is Baron Corbin, okay? Look, shouts out to Baron Corbin. I like when Roman Reigns was supposed to dive out the ring and he ended up catching Roman Reigns with the deep six. That was a great execution on that move right there. I liked it. I like Baron Corbin with that move right there, and he was okay tonight, okay? I think him and Roman Reigns have great chemistry. Don't want to see this match at WrestleMania, which a lot of people have been speculating. Don't want to see it, but I'm just not a Baron Corbin fan when it comes to him being in anybody's main events. I think the WWE destroyed this guy, and ever since he lost that Money in the Bank contract, it really just told you what WWE thinks about him, so why should we care? But all in all, Fastlane was a good pay-per-view. Good pay-per-view. Wasn't great on On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 7. I give it a 7 out of 10. Because some of the matches that they had, some of the matches that were bad, of course, but the matches that were good, they outweigh the matches that were bad. Okay, the best match of the night, in my opinion, was the WWE Championship match, and then you had the Revival match. I think that was the second best, and then I would probably have to say everything else was average at best. Miz and Shane McMahon match was a little bit above average, so I think it did enough to give it a 7 out of 10. But this has been your Fastlane review. And what have we learned from Fastlane? Okay, what have we learned? We learned that Kofi Kingston is still over. We learned that the WWE still knows what they're doing. They still know how to push a superstar when they want to. We learned that Mustafa Ali is a legit player. We learned that Nia Jax needs to go back to the Performance Center. And we learned that Becky Lynch had the same injury that Brian Pillman had all those years ago when he was walking around on crutches for no earthly reason at all. But now we're officially, seriously on the road to WrestleMania, so I'm interested to see some of the storylines that will develop and what matches will be set up at WrestleMania this year in New Jersey. I'm really excited about it, and this is the best time of year because I really feel like the WWE really goes above and beyond to try to put on the best show possible, and they have the superstars to do it, so there's absolutely no excuse for the WWE to jack this up. But this has been TJ Knows Wrestling. Please follow me on Twitter at TJay Jones 8. That's TJay Jones 8. You can also follow the TJ Knows Wrestling podcast on Facebook, facebook.com. Search TJ Knows Wrestling. And thank you for checking it out. Once again, like, share, and comment on this video. Thank you very much. Till next time, I'll see you down the road.